People are unaccounted for, and 2 police officers were shot following a standoff and house fire in Pennsylvania. Mark Mayfield with the story.
Officers responded to a call Wednesday afternoon at a home in East Lansdowne, just outside of Philadelphia, where they were immediately met with gunfire. The house then became engulfed in flames. It is believed the shooter is one of the 6 to 8 people unaccounted for. The officers are both in stable condition, and cops say they're going to begin to search for bodies and evidence on Thursday morning. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Prince William is expressing gratitude for people's well wishes over health issues in the royal family. William's father, King Charles III, was diagnosed with cancer, while his wife, Kate Middleton, is recovering from abdominal surgery. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Dutch Bakery and Variety Foods in Ontario is reminding everyone to please give blood. By doing so, you may save the life of a child, surgery patient, or an accident victim. So give blood. It's safe, it's simple, and it's needed. This message courtesy of your friends at Dutch Bakery and Variety Foods in Ontario. For a great selection of imported food from Holland and Indonesia and knowledgeable, friendly service, visit 1051 West Philadelphia Street in Ontario or call 909-983-6022. They're on the air because they care. Lauren Espy, Century 21 Masters, reminds listeners that a family pet is a year-round commitment. Proper care includes regular checkups, vaccinations, dental care, spays, and neuters, along with flea, tick, and heartworm preventions. This reminder is brought to you by Lauren Espy, Century 21 Masters, reminding everybody pets are people too. Lauren from Century 21 Masters goes the extra mile to keep all her clients happy. Put her 15 years of experience to work for you and call her today at 951-623-6955. That's 951-623-6955. That's Lauren Espy, Century 21 Masters, on the air because they care.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? Well, what would you do if you have a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's way too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times, addiction treatment is fully covered. So why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed to take time off by law, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are 2 good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call now, 800-398-7414. That's 800-398-7414.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I can come over.
Come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome, you're tuned to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, the station that leaves no listener behind. And you are tuned into a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words. No Kanye talk, formerly or now, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests and 1,102 past shows that you can choose from with fabulous people. You saw them all in the extended intro that plays while the NBC News is playing on the other side. I'm just so glad that you're here, and especially today. It is Thursday, and it is time for my very special series called Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorne.
my new co-host for Thursdays. Welcome back to the show, James. Every Thursday, actually, you took a little break last week, and we'll find out all about it in the gratitude sandwich. Let's just launch into that. I am reporting live from Las Vegas, or Lost Wages, as they say. But we'll start with our morning good life habit or blissipline of taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So, top of the bun is 8 things that we are grateful for outside of ourselves. And then bottom of the bun, because I like it on the bottom, 8 things that we appreciate about ourselves. Here we go. James, what are you grateful for?
Adventurous friends. I was able to get a friend to call off of work and come up to the mountains with me for my birthday. Sorry for missing last week, everybody, but I took a little birthday break. Went up to Big Bear and had a friend who just called off work and said, "All right, I'm going up there with you." So love the fact that I have people that care enough about me to join me and that I can adventure with on such excursions out of Los Angeles.
Woohoo! Um, Happy birthday, dear James, co-host of Straight Talk, who's fabulous. Happy birthday to you.
Woo! And the runs and
Happy
everything. I like it. I like it.
birthday! I'm grateful that yesterday I did karaoke here at Ellis Island, and I was only one of 3 people that the host gave a little sheet to invite me to audition for the Karaoke Nationals.
Oh,
I
you got
had
to.
no idea that this existed, but the World Internationals are in Finland this year, and he invited me to audition for that. So that's kind of cool. I'm grateful for that.
Just think about the colorful characters you're going to meet. You have to do it.
Oh, yes, yes, sir. What else are you grateful for, James?
Oh, I am grateful for the sunshine. Just when we thought the rain was going to stop, it poured again last night. I am so happy to have some sunshine back in my life, get back outside, get running again outdoors. I ran on a treadmill for the first time in like 6 years because, I live in California. Why would I go on a treadmill? A lot of people do, and I just scratched my head. I'm like, you live in LA, get outside. But that's been kind of impossible the last 5 days. So something as simple as the sunshine.
Absolutely. And we have one of the Cashew Gallery from Troy. He is grateful for some sudden good growth in my channel recently. I know numbers aren't important to you, Dr. Pay, but they are encouraging to me. Well, good for you and congratulations. Susan McDonald, too. I love it. Our Cashew Gallery is joining in on breakfast. Susan McDonald, grateful for waking up this morning, my family, my friends, and my enemies. Nice. For my voice, agape, unity, Carter Memorial AME, life, breath, all beautiful, healthy body organs for you and me. Wow. Yay, Susan. I think that completes our 8. I will say I'm really grateful for technology and Frank, my sound engineer, who you never know how things are going very well until they don't when he's not there. He was snowed in yesterday. He had a couple technical difficulties. But it gave us an opportunity to figure out how to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I'm grateful that, especially for my smartphone and the ability to broadcast from wherever I am. And yes, I am in Las Vegas. I got to cover a few events here that were just stunning. Some Olympic hopefuls, Olympic winners, Nike ambassadors, quarterbacks. I mean, it was just great. And then going to Rich Little's home yesterday, who is such an amazing, first, what iconic, legendary comic and impressionist. And he was showing clips of, Johnny Carson and his friendship with him and being his guest host when Johnny was away. I mean, just it was just an amazing time. I leave back home today, but the fact that I still get to broadcast from here, no matter where I am, I'm truly grateful. All right, let's go to the bottom of the butt, which is, what do you like about yourself? Now, this one's a little different. I say gratitude's outside of yourself, and appreciation is what's inside. I do this because I want to work your muscle so that you have better self care, which is the foundation of good mental health, instead of reaching for something outside of yourself to soothe yourself. That's why we do this. And I'm really great. I really am grateful that James, I didn't know he didn't like doing this before, but now that I forced him to do this as my co-host, he's actually enjoying it. So I'll let you start off. What do you like about yourself?
I like that I've finally learned to give myself a break. I'm not so hard on myself for my shortcomings. It doesn't mean that I let them go. I still want to improve upon them, but I don't judge myself so harshly for the things that I still am a work in progress on. I just say, okay, all right, nobody's perfect, and my poo stinks too, so it's all good. Let me just work it out, and we'll get there in good time. It's a journey to the end. I'm glad I finally have gotten to that place in life. It took me 38 years, now 39, and let the freak out commence as I count down to 40 begins.
Ooh, I appreciate that. I'm 88% more flexible than I used to be. It's still my challenge. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And so when things don't go well, I have a tendency to, react. And I appreciate my ability to, you know, not, not like unfriend people immediately. I'm learning. I still don't have that P word in my dictionary, but it's okay. It's okay. As you said, work in progress, 88% fabulous, 12% of the time I step into it. Oh, we have one here. Um, Susan appreciates that she's practicing the presence of God, seeing us all as one with God, macro and micro, seeing and practicing and seeing all as one with God. And that is you appreciate that you are able to do that and see that you are a full and complete and one of a kind, wonderful expression of your God. That's awesome. James.
I just had one. What was it? Oh boy, I needed more coffee today. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that I can. It's just so ironic, given that it just went right out of my head. I like that I can think fast. I was at a audition yesterday, and it was so much copy. I thought for sure it was going to be in a teleprompter because it's a talking head kind of thing, and usually that's teleprompter. But no, they expected everybody to be memorized. And the first guy comes out. He was in and out of the room like that. And he goes, "I hope you guys are memorized." Oh, he's all flustered, and he says to the rest of the room, so everyone's like, "Oh crap, none of us are memorized." So I got in there, and I'm like, well, at least I'm familiar with the script. So I made it look like I was memorized, even though I wasn't. So I'm glad I can think fast and adapt, because it ended up going really well, and it could have gone terribly if I let myself panic and worry and go, "I'm not memorized."
Yes, yes. Same here. I got a call right when I was getting out of the shower this morning that did I approve these charges? Someone in Tennessee is using my credit card. So I was able to still get ready for the show and take care of that. The poor customer service guy, I'm like, hurry, hurry, hurry. What's the next charge? What's the next charge? So I appreciate my ability to adapt. One more from you.
Um, Apparently, I am able to make people feel special and cared for. I got a call 12:30 last night. I think my friend had had a few drinks, but nevertheless, he was telling me how grateful he was about me being able to help him out and making his because he's just coming to LA, making his LA experience so awesome and memorable, And I was really flattered and touched by that. And to me, I'd like to think of it just looking at creating win-wins wherever I can. And there's certain times I think in life when you can help people without it being a tax or a burden on you. And um, a lot of times you can help people and it's mutually beneficial. And I think if we look for those opportunities, that's the low-hanging fruit. And you never know what simple thing that you can do to help somebody that's going to make a lasting impact. And I'm grateful that I guess apparently I'm good at doing that. I got a call at
Oh,
12:30 at night. My friend's like, "I love you, man," and I'm like, "I love you
uh,
too. Thank you for the call."
that's great. And I appreciate, along that same vein, it was actually a prophecy that came true that I didn't even realize. When my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, was on the show earlier this year, he comes on to celebrate milestones on the show. And he said that I would touch people around the world that I had no clue. That I would be touching. And when I was in Australia and New Zealand, halfway around the world, people did recognize me and thank me for the work that I do. And that was truly like a shocker. And didn't realize till Sunday that that was actually a prophecy coming true. And so I am truly like taking Uber rides and being known, heard of and known. And I'm just so appreciative that I have just like slammed and embraced and like no holds barred why I'm here, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. And I'm so appreciative that I get to do that and that it's working. So, all right, that's it for breakfast with Dr. Marissa and
Your co-host, James Hawthorne.
ooh, nice voice on that one. We are so happy that you are able to join us for breakfast every weekday morning. For me, no matter who my co host is, I promise that if you have breakfast and repeat this bliss up plan for 28 consecutive days, I'm hearing a little crackle. Are you moving your stuff? Yeah, it's like broadcasting.
My
Um,
apologies. I have to get this charger in here. I thought I was charging.
okay.
It was not. Technical difficulties.
There we go. I promise that if you do this good life exercise for 28 consecutive days, you will sandwich your day in the most positive way. All right. And I can't reach the applause button. I don't know if Frank, you are handy there. All the places that I usually do applause, I don't want to stick my finger in the lens. So this is one thing about being remote. But James, what is the topic for today?
Breaking up is hard to do. I will not be competing in the karaoke world championships, but I still love to do it. I'll be there in cheerleading capacity. But more specifically, yes, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the ins and outs of when you're no longer doing the old in and out with your partner. I got you so good. Oh, look at her. She's taking a cup of that coffee. I hope that was water because coffee out the nose is not a fun
That was
experience.
coffee, and you're so lucky that didn't come out of my nose. Oh my God, that's a
Not well me because you would have
no.
killed me afterwards, but also the viewers. I'm sure that's
Yeah,
as
well,
pretty as you are.
that
That would
was
not
good
be a
though.
pretty sight.
I love it, and I got Rich Little yesterday too. And that, hey, if you can get a comedian, that's a pretty darn good thing. And that's why it says Enrich Little there. For those of you who are wondering, I didn't change that because I didn't see it on my phone until now, and I don't want to go out and change it. So Rich Little is here in spirit. He will be on the show February at the end of February. So,
The
anyways,
man of 1,000 voices. I
that's
maybe have 10 voices, so I'll leave it to him to give you his 1,000 when he joins you later this month.
yeah, he's amazing. I was just so delighted I got to go to see his show, Green Room, VIP. It was just fabulous. But anyways, that was gratitude. Forgot to do that one. Okay, breaking up is hard to do. I remember when. Da, 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 da. Sorry. I wanted to talk about too, because I started dating,
I sure did.
and um, do you want me to go or do you want to go first?
Go for it. We
Okay.
know that you're back at it again. You're back on the apps.
7 year itch. So it's been 7 years since I dated, and I actually met a guy here in Vegas, and I know they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And I really, it's a perfect timing for this because you meet a guy, you meet a guy, you meet a girl or a partner, and you click, like you begin to discover, oh my God, we had such a good time playing slots together. I love the way that he's like a gentleman, and like when he asked me what I wanted, and I said an ice cream because I don't drink, and he went to get a beer and he gave me a $20 bill and you go get the ice cream, right? Like just very um old fashioned. He's from the South and all of that. And the physical attraction was there, and um you know he is as busy as I am, which is a good thing, right? And everything was great, right? And and then you start it was like a sped up thing, and then there were things that weren't so great. And so we discovered after 24 hours that there's things that were not great, but I would say um there were a there were a lot of things that were really good. But then the practical aspect of our lives, and how do you break up with someone who like it's just easier sometimes to ghost. I have to be honest. It's easier to not have to talk about it, to not have, because what is there to say? I mean, really, what is there to say as far as you're not going to see them again. You're not going to have a relationship. So I need some advice. Those of you who are listening and streaming, and somebody gave me the finger, I think, not that finger, but this finger. But how do you break up when you both know, and it isn't something like you had a long relationship where it's good to do a postmortem, or is it ever good to do a postmortem?
I think if it's someone that you've just been casually dating, sure, you can ghost. But I think people, and maybe I'm just speaking anecdotally for me, but I think people appreciate and respect when you just level with them. I mean, even if it stings or hurts, people can adapt to that. But if you just leave them wondering, people can be so cruel to themselves. They can go, what did I do wrong? How did I upset her? How did I, and I like to save people that misery. I'd much rather say something that maybe stings in the moment, but relieve them of whatever their brain is going to cook up, regarding
Mm-hmm.
why it ended. So just as I feel like ghosting is kind of an act of cruelty, and leveling with somebody is an act of compassion, to be honest with you.
But when you do that and help them drop out of what I call MSU University, making shiitake up, right? um, then you open that door for a dialogue that maybe you don't want. So another one that I dated, things were going well. This is not in Vegas. This is back home, and started flirting, and then he sent me pictures that I didn't want. Nothing like no genitals, but he said he was going into the shower, and I'm like, no. Like he said, I'll send you, and I'm like, no. Like that is a hard no, literally. A hard no. Don't want to see any pictures from the shower. And he sent them anyways. And so from that point, I'm like totally turned off, right? And he continues to text, and I'm like, if I said, look, you crossed a line, I'm not interested, right? Then it's like I have a feeling because I've already had conversation with him, and when I say I can't talk right now, he'll text again. So so I don't want to open that door for that.
I think that's an exception when somebody violates a boundary and isn't respecting your boundaries. Well, at that point, they don't deserve as much of your time, energy, and respect because they're showing that they don't have that for you. At that point, you can just ghost, especially if they're exhibiting clingy or obsessive type behavior. Like that's an act of just self protection to just like block.
Okay. Okay.
That
Now
would be
here's
the
my
exception, right?
okay.
There are
Right,
no
right, right.
hard and fast rules. But assuming that person's behaving, normally, and it's just not working out, I like to end, put an end to people's suffering, and just tell them, hey, I think you're terrific. I'm just not feeling the things I need to feel to continue dating.
Yeah.
And it is about, I mean, this whole it's not me, or it's not you, it's me. I think that most of the time there's truth to that if the other person is normal and you're just not feeling the chemistry. It's just like you're just saying, hey, I like what I like. There's a lot of great things about you, but I'm not feeling those butterflies. If you want to be friends, I'm down. If that's not appealing to you, so be it. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah. I'm getting used to I've had like I think two out of I don't know, lots who just say, you're super cute, but you're not my type. And my tendency or my, my critical head is, oh, to take that personally. But I think you're right. I think that to be able to say that is probably more kind than not. So I will remember that. I'll try. But sometimes it's just easier to not say anything. But I will end with my examples with this last one, and I'm going to do it only because I'll forget if I don't ask you now, which is you swipe, right?
Right?
So you swipe, you match, and then you're basing it on their pictures, right? And then I because everybody puts their best picture forward. I ask them for like here's what I look like right now. What do you look like if there's no time for a video call or we haven't even talked enough to reach that video call? And if I mean they don't look anywhere as attractive, which is what I was attracted to as the picture. How do you extricate yourself from that? Like the easiest way for me, which is not nice, is just to unmatch.
I call them out. I say, hey, I got to be honest with you. I don't feel like you look like your pictures. So nice chatting with you. Good luck. I mean, if somebody's engaging, people aren't dumb. They know that they're deceiving you. Yeah, so I call them out on it. I call them out on that shiitake.
Well, it's not that they're I mean, we all put our best picture forward, right?
I'll put a couple up there that I think are my best, but I put some others where I look like I just rolled out of bed because I really, when I meet that person, I don't want them to be deceived or disappointed in the least. I want them to see me on my worst day and on my best day. But, my worst day pick is me in bed cuddling with my dog. I look like, I haven't slept in days, but I offset that with a cute dog in the picture. But nevertheless, I'm a big believer in under promise, over deliver. So I will show me in the collection of pictures on my best day looking guay. But I'll also show pictures of me not looking so good that are
Mm-hmm.
honest reflections of like my life, my personality, or whatever it might
Yeah.
be. So that like I'll show a picture of me at the end of a marathon where I'm like exhausted, I'm sweaty, there's salt around my face from sweat, so they could see just how bad I can look. But I also just ran a marathon, so some might find that sexy, right? So it's like you might call that a humble brag, like, hey, look at me, I just rolled out of bed, but here's my cute dog. But at least people can see what I look like, not on my best day or in my best moment.
Oh, Martin,
I
please
am so
welcome.
glad I'm married. I love this. They're looking at us talking about our trials and tribulations of dating. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. Dating ain't for sissies. It is tough these days.
It is true. And welcome. I think this is the first time Martin is streaming, and he is a friend from Agape as well as Susan. So thanks for tuning in. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on in the studio today, this is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA. AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, the station that leaves no listener behind, and streaming everywhere: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and of course, LinkedIn, Facebook, and most importantly, my YouTube TV channel that houses all 1,103 of my podcast shows, as well as my Red Carpet playlist, interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, which is one of the reasons why I was recognized in Australia, and more short films, feature films. I've been showing those this week. It is Black History Month. If you missed the really important conversation I had on Doctors in the House yesterday about racism, as well as Tuesday, the feature film that I put together with Caldwell Williams, talking about racism without talking about white privilege, then please do go free subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get an alert every weekday morning to tune in to this show that balances out bad news with good news. And today we are delighted to have back in studio James Hawthorne, my wonderful co-host, to Straight Talk, which means we give it to you straight, even when we're not straight.
That's right.
But we put the moose on the table, my Canadian version of the elephant in the room, and talk about things, relationship, romance, and as Martin says, the relief to be married instead of single as we are sharing all of our stuff. All right. Troy, I wasn't going to say this again, but marriage is a good place to be. So, Martin.
I love it. I love it when our cashew gallery is active. But you know what I got to say to you, Troy Martin? Good for you. Whoop-de-doo. Look at you getting married, finding your great partner. I'm so happy for you. Ooh. No, I'm kidding. I genuinely am happy for you. I hope one day to find such bliss. It's getting late early. I'm not getting any younger, right? And one day, maybe one day. But congratulations, sincerely. I just wanted to tease you guys a little bit.
A little bit of wah. But yeah, and we love to include you. So please do free subscribe on the YouTube channel so you can do some comments. Troy actually has his own show on YouTube, and as he mentioned in the gratitude sandwich, the numbers are up, and I'm happy for him. All right, we are talking about breaking up is hard, to do or not to break up, and how to break up, so that James is coaching me on how to put people out of their misery nicely.
We should just call the show The Blind Leading the Blind. Straight talk. Straight talk. Two people that don't know chatting about something we're all trying to get better at. Right? No, we're making our way. We're figuring it out.
No, I think we both know what not to do.
Yeah.
And that's like super important. I think that this time around for me, this whole dating exercise is so different because I'm not looking for someone perfect or someone to complete me. I love myself. I love my life. And so it's just helping me identify things that I really like that I may not have known. And so one thing that I discovered from my What Stays in Vegas is on my show, is physical touch that is just, I guess it would fall under cuddling or non erotic touch. That just, I had no idea how much I thought I liked it, but it's been a long time. Obviously, if you're not dating for 7 years, you can't touch yourself that way, just the face or on your arms. And man, that is such a beautiful thing that I have not had, and it gives me more desire to date, to really have a relationship, because you can't do that to yourself. It doesn't feel the same way.
You may have just discovered a new love language for you, because when it comes to love languages, there's the way that we express it and there's the ways that we like to receive it. A few shows ago, we talked about love languages. You talked about gifts. And I think that touch might be rapidly climbing towards the top of your list, huh?
I do believe you're correct, and I would have never known that had I not engaged. That's what this feels like, is I'm practicing. It takes all the pressure off. It's actually kind of fun, you know trying to do it nicely and respectfully. James is going to help me do that. But yeah, it really, it's like honestly, I feel like I'm melting, and I'm opening up, that physical part of me. I used to always, touch, when you're cuddling, and I would touch the guy and do that. And I just would do it, not asking for it, because I didn't know I like it. And there is that too. When you ask somebody for something, I don't know. To me, it's like, it doesn't count. I want you to be able to do it, before I ask you. But on the other hand, they don't know. So there's that catch 22 on
Right.
communication.
And that's also compatibility. It's so nice when people just naturally do the things that make your tummy tingle and your heart flutter. I
This
can
is for
only
you,
like
James.
30 plus years of.
Ja- James, you're
Thank
young.
you,
I
Troy.
can
It's
only
nice to know
claim.
I'm not the that me and Dr. Pay aren't the only ones here in the trenches. You paid your dues, my friend.
Yes, 30 years of marital bliss, because I'm an old blank and been through all of that mess you are sharing about. Oh, thank you, Troy. Trying to make you feel better there. Uh,
Thank you. And for those others in the cashew gallery, I promise that the teasing portion of the show is over. I got it all out on Martin and Troy. So I promise to be kind to anybody else that chooses to participate in the show thus far. Um, this topic, right? There was a reason I brought it up, and I was thinking about how sometimes this good company is good company. And you were speaking about how you're not looking for the one, you're going into it a little bit more open. And sometimes when breaking up, if it's a friendly breakup or if it's a mutual breakup, I'm like, well, I still love you. We just don't work out together as like a couple. And I just want to go right into friendship. And I've learned, for whatever reason, I'm not exactly sure the mechanism behind it, but that doesn't work. People need like the they need separation to fully process the emotions, the experience. And what I later learned was that, you know what? I do too. And sometimes you bring some of the relationship baggage into the friendship if you remain friends after the breakup, and you need that space and that separation. And as much as I used to like to think, oh, I'm mature enough, I'm well adjusted enough, I'm not well adjusted. I got lots of problems. So why not just make it easy, and you just agree to like not talk for a few months and process and go through your thing. And then, if you really do miss that person, you can go have lunch, coffee, hang out, laugh. And so, because, sometimes good company is just good company, even if you're not meant to be together romantically. And that post-mortem, as you would call it, how we handle that, I think, is so important. Not just the act of breaking up, but once the breakup is done, and assuming it was friendly and or mutual, what are the rules? How do we do that healthily? I feel like I've learned a little bit, but I feel like I still have a ways to go on that one.
I'm just laughing. I'm sorry, James. I'm not laughing at you, but we're so different. James is so nice and kind. I don't. I'm the Seinfeld way of breaking up. Like, I have enough friends. Here's a quarter. Don't call me.
Like a band-aid, right off. You gotta rip it right off, as Jerry would say in ending a relationship.
Oh, it's just so funny. I mean, it's good. It's good to have that contrast, because, yeah. But I am getting kinder. I am melting. I definitely, I don't usually do that, become friends. So you're asking about a timeout. Like, is it, it's useful to have like a period of no contact or radio silence, as we say in our world, to be able to move into that friendship. Is that what you're saying? I just want to make
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, if there's potential for such a friendship, but I mean, I feel like if the breakup's friendly and or mutual, there is, and
Mhm.
I've been friends with a number of exes, and then there have been other times where I've been a little naughtier and engaged in ex sex, which, by the way, is very hot, but I don't think it's so good or healthy for the soul. Um, and those have been the postmortem situations where we ending up cutting off all contact ultimately anyway. So while there's
Mhm.
something kind of racy and hot about it, speaking from personal experience, I don't think it's the wisest way to go. So that's another thing that I've learned. Got to be
Mhm.
careful with that because I don't feel like you're protecting your heart when you put yourself in that environment. And I have certainly made that mistake.
Interesting.
Just to put that
So,
moose on the table as we
yeah, I
get
was
into
just
the
gonna
second half
say,
of the show today.
yes, yes, I hear that too. The moose on the table. I've honestly not had that. I also have not had makeup sex. I also have not had, you know, the friends with benefits. I haven't done that either. And I am learning how to have sex without attachment, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not a good thing, but it has been a good thing for me because, and you know this about me, and pretty much anybody who's heard me talk about body image and self image and how I get in my own way with body dysmorphia, projecting what I grew up with, you're fat and ugly, choosing a man who also felt that way. Um, I can say that this trip, like, one of the great things that's been happening is with that touch that you said, and um, witnessing someone who was really turned on by my body as is, was just like, wow. Like, it is definitely, um, I'm changing the look of how I look at myself.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you just brought up something so my one of my COVID projects, besides adopting and training a dog and puppy, was therapy. It had been a long time since I had taken a look under the hood. And talk therapy was so helpful to me at a couple different times in my life. And I was really stressing over this falling out I had with a friend, and disproportionately so. So I said, there's something larger at play here. I really need to go under the hood and take a look at things. And one thing that came up when we talked about intimacy and dating was he says, James, you don't have to have it all figured out to be ready to go date. You have to figure it out through dating. You got to roll up your sleeves, get messy, roll around in the muck, make mistakes, mess up, and that is how you learn and grow. You can't do it in a vacuum. You can't do it from a theoretical place. You have to go out there, break some hearts, maybe not be so nice, but by accident, of course, never intentionally, get your heart broken, and learn by getting out there and doing it. Nobody has it all figured out, so get your butt out there is what he said. And I really like that. I really like that advice, and that just it felt, it was so liberating. But it was hard for me to act on until
How
another
hard?
revelation that I made during that period of therapy, which was
How
he's like,
hard was
James,
it?
your super ego, the judging version. For those who aren't Freud fresh, you have your superego, your ego, and your id, your instincts. So your superego is like hyperactive. It's like you're constantly in court, and your superego is the judge, and he just keeps slapping charge after charge after charge upon you. And you need to tell that judge to go take an extended break. And once I learned how to do that, then I had the courage and the freedom to be okay with going out dating and not worrying about getting it right. Get rightitis is a very serious disease. I highly recommend going out there and falling flat on your face, picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and throwing yourself right back down again. It's good for you.
Good for you. Get in that bed and have some fun, get dirty, and learn from the dirt.
That's right. You don't know what you like until you try it. There's 31 different flavors at Baskin Robbins. I mean, you might think you don't like something, but how do you know till you give it a whirl?
It's exactly, I didn't go to that person, but I'm definitely applying everything you just said to my dating experience now. And I have to say, it is really, it's so liberating, like you said, to not have my critic in my driver's seat, driving me off a cliff on what to do, what not to do. You shouldn't, you should, shitting on myself and just rolling with it and see what I can learn about myself and what I like. And it's, yeah, liberating is a really good word for that. We have a comment here from Troy. Makeup sex is about 50%.
Troy, I gotta
Oh,
start tuning into your show, man. You got me in stitches today, brother. Makeup
Friday
sex
night.
is 50% of all sex and marriages. Hey, as long as you can make up, man. As long as you can make up. That's what matters. It's not how you get along when things are going well. It's how you get along when things are going bad. That's love right there. Love is
Yeah.
that's what they mean by love is a practice, I think. It's not a feeling, it's an
Yeah.
action.
Love is a battlefield.
Yeah, give it to me, Pat. Pat Benatar, give it to me.
Speaking of which, the Asian Oprah giveaway today is 4 tickets. We have 4 left for the performance Saturday night. This Saturday night, Chinese New Year. I'm going to go play mahjong to celebrate Chinese New Year. Do not get your hair cut or clean your house on New Year's Eve or Saturday. So Friday and Saturday, that's tomorrow, because you will sweep and cut away your good fortune. Uh, eat noodles symbolized for long life, and the first 4 people or two pairs to go to drmarissa.life and put down Humperdinck. Engelbert Humperdinck is going to be performing at the Saban Theater in Beverly Hills. So, love to give you those tickets. As usual, you get a ticket. You get a ticket. Not exactly a car. We're working on it. Although I have given out $20,000 tickets to an event back in the day. But please do enjoy from one of my longtime sponsors, Where Music Meets the Soul Productions. Dana, my friend and manager, is giving those tickets away to you. All right. That's the commercial. Where and how much time do we have? Because I don't have the
11 minutes.
11 minutes. Good. Here we go. James, if you ever want to be a guest on my chat with me and Netta, we'd love to have you. Fridays, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific.
I like to
There you
get spread
go.
around. Just call me peanut butter. I'm down. Yeah, Troy, that would be great.
You're
I'll reach out to you about
smooth.
that. It could be a good time. Actually,
That's
I'm
it.
sure it will be.
You're a little smooth peanut butter on that one. And yeah, you are tuned to Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Your co-host, Jimmy Wide Tie, as my friends call me. There's a story
what?
behind that.
Jimmy what?
Wide Tie. When I was hosting the film festival, my friends said I wasn't exactly fashion forward because my tie was so wide. And they said, "Get a skinny tie, man. Get like in vogue." And I'm like, "But I like my wide ties." So my nickname amongst my friends is Jimmy Wide Tie now, among other things. But James Hawthorne, for those of you tuning in for the first time, wondering if you're listening to some kind of mafia show. No, it's James Hawthorne. But Jimmy Wide Tie to my close and personal.
Sounds good. So we're talking about breaking up. If you have any questions or comments or advice for the blind leading the blind here in the dating world, please do put it in the chat. So basically, in summary, what I have learned from this episode is that when someone deserves more than a ghosting or an unmatch, to say, you're lovely, just not my type. Can I say that? Or lovely, don't think we're a match.
Yeah, I think that's better. Make it more about incompatibility. 'Cause when you say you're not my type, it's about them, and that could be kind of harsh.
Yeah,
And
I
my
didn't like the
friend,
way that he said that. When he said that, it kind of like the guy
it
that
stings.
said that to me. Yeah.
And my friend, to be fair, Dr. Marissa, would agree with you that just ghost him, just because there is no nice way to do it. And I disagree with that. We have this beautiful gift of language, and if we are loving people, I believe that even though it might sting, you can still deliver the sting nicely. So yeah, saying like, I just don't think we're a match. Like, I think you're great. It's not a match. Or like, I'm just not feeling the things. Like, I don't enter into relationships or dating hardly ever. So trust me, it is me. It's not you. I'm just not feeling that. If you'd like to be friends, let's do it. And I think if you do that and you're truly and you don't feel awkward about it, if you feel okay with your decision, you can help make the God, what, I'm talking about thruples here. You can make the other person feel okay because human behavior is mimetic. So if you mime like, if you're awkward, they're going to feel awkward.
But
Um,
but you are nicer than I am, and
I don't know about that.
because you just said, we can be friends. I don't honestly. I can't say that because then there's an investment of time for every friendship, and that time is a non-renewable, most valuable resource to me. So even that back and forth on a chat is like not my cup of tea. So I think I am okay with unmatching. It's my
Yeah,
conclusion.
I mean, and I think authenticity is important too. You have to do it in a way that is reflective of who you really are. I mean, the greatest gift you can give the world, including any flaws or imperfections, is your authentic self.
Mhm. But I think the biggest thing, that light bulb that just went on, that I hope that everybody gets, because we did a show on rejection, and this is sort of like jumping forward on rejection, is if you and I and everybody listening and anybody who is dating and anybody who's in a relationship that isn't 80% good, instead of blaming the other person, oh, I could say, well, he said he was this and that and he's not, right? Or he said he was this way and then he was for a little while and then he wasn't, and shame on him. It's not personal, it's just not a match. Can you imagine if we all looked at relationships that way when things were not a match? You just said, it's been great, it's been fun, we're not a match. You're not an a-hole, you're not an ash hole, you're not a jerk, you're not a dickwad. Oh, I don't know if I can say that. You're not
FCC's
a,
coming after you, girl. No, I'm
I
kidding.
know, right? Frank, I hope you had the finger on the button. If you're not, it's not that. Like, we don't have to call people names. We
Hmm.
don't have to see them as bad. It just isn't a match. And I'm talking to me. And but I am also saying that if we could all do that, I think we could get to world peace, because
That's
you
the
take
world
that
taking a huge
whole.
sigh of relief. I mean, think of all the mental anguish and emotional anguish we could save if we didn't keep trying to find a reason where it is about us. I mean, unless the person flat out tells you, you do this thing all the time and I don't like it, and you haven't stopped doing it, so it's your fault. Well, okay. That gives you something to work on at least. So even that isn't the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world to hear is what we tell ourselves after a breakup, because we keep digging for some answer. We keep feeding this inadequacy paradigm. To
Mhm.
quote Marianne Williamson, I think that's her name, in her speech for Nelson Mandela, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, it's that we're powerful beyond measure, because that would require actually taking responsibility for your light. I say my extension on that is that inadequacy isn't a fear, it's our default state of being. And we need to
Mhm.
rise above this constant sense that we're not enough and that we're inadequate and that we're constantly disappointing people.
Here, here. She's been on my show twice, by the way.
Oh, I'm so jealous. You got to send me direct links. You got 1,200 shows. I don't want to go through. If you send me those links, I will watch. I'm a big fan of her.
Actually, if you just ask my assistant Google to say Dr. Marissa and Marianne Williamson on YouTube.
You're right. I should leverage technology more. Me and my friends were having a wiffle ball game last week. I couldn't find the park, and my friend goes, "Google's really a great tool, James." I'm like, I'm going to venture a potential topic for next week. I'm not going to say it, but it's something to discuss because we don't have enough time to really dive into it today. But one part of breaking up is when to pull the trigger. We talked a lot about actually breaking up, how to do it, and the postmortem. But in my second to last relationship, I felt like things were kind of going downhill, but I didn't have the guts to really call that out and have that talk. And when do you pull the trigger? How does ego get involved if you get broken up with when all along you were thinking, I should have this talk with them? I'm eager to discuss that, share it, and hear from our cashew gallery about when you feel like things aren't going well, when do you pull the trigger? When is it time to have a discussion about maybe trying to work things out? Or when do you say, what are those factors and what determines when it's breakup time? Since we talked about the actual breakup and what happens after, what about the walk down the plank?
Yes, and your analogies are just like doom and gloom for the end of a relationship, which it doesn't have to be. That is James' final word and his preview for the topic for next Thursday. It is in the final throes of this show. We thank you for joining us. And again, it's just not a match. And that, I think if we can keep that there, then it's not that big of a deal when it happens. But I think it's a great topic because frankly, my dear, if you don't like that person 80% of the time, they deserve to be with someone who does love them and like them 80% of the time. Don't be saying to me in coaching, I have couples come in and the woman says, I deserve better. And it's like, sweetheart, the amount of complaining that you're doing about that person, they don't deserve to have to listen to you tell them all the things that are wrong. So that's my final word.
In the words of music legend Sting, if you love someone, set them free.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from Las Vegas. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Thank you to my co-host, James Hawthorne. We will see you tomorrow with tempting conversations with Dr. Marissa and Alon Carter. And thank you to our cashew gallery.
Thank you, Troy.
Have the best day ever.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.